Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Kissy Key. If I'm looking this way, y'all, please excuse that. I'm just looking at myself. Okay, is the lighting gonna be our friend today? Okay, anyway, today video we're gonna do a book haul. I don't like what's going on with this lighting. We're gonna do a book haul. So someone asked me to do a Someone asked me to do a book haul about the books I've read. I had previously done one on this channel. I did it in 2022, but I deleted that video. I don't know why I deleted that video, but that video was deleted. So without further ado, we're gonna get started with the books I've read and my ratings on them. Now, most of my books, I don't want to like spoil the books, but these are some good books that I've read. I'm gonna give them a 1 through 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. And just a full disclaimer here, the books I read are hood books, spicy books, dangerous books, the whole 9 yards. Okay, so we're gonna get started with the most recent one. I just finished this book. I read this book within a day. Okay, absolutely not. Quiet on the set. Quiet on the creek, please. So I read this book within a day. It's called, are you gonna focus? Addicted to a Dirty South Thug. Now, I just read this book. My rating for this book is a 6 out of 10. This book, drama filled. Okay, everybody in this book need a therapist. Everybody. So we got this girl named Cuba who had a sister named Alaska. Cuba and Alaska was apparently raised to be very good girls. However, Cuba falls in love with this guy from the hood, and her parents are telling her, hey, he's not for you, you need to break up with him, I don't like him for you, the whole 9 yards. But you know, I don't know what it is about good girls wanting the bad boys. I personally do not know why females are like it, because I'm a female and I don't know, so I can't tell you. However, we have Cuba who falls in love with a guy in the hood, and her sister falls in love with the guy's best friend. Okay, and he's also from the hood. So their parents blame Cuba for her sister Alaska dating this guy. Come to find out, Cuba is actually the most innocent one. Okay, Cuba is the one who was innocent. However, she just fell in love with the wrong guy. Okay, then Alaska, on the other hand, is the sneaky one, the one who's actually rebellious, the one who is actually a bad influence. But they blame Cuba. Now, Cuba, Alaska, they date these good guys. Both their boyfriends like to rob people for what they got to get, you know, to come up on themselves. It's a whole lot of craziness that went on in this book. And like I said, I read this book within a span of a day. I read it within a span of a day. And I'm looking at my phone because I'm pulling up like my full review, like my notes. But it starts off with Cuba and Alaska finishing up a double date at the fair type of ordeal, and Cuba is eavesdropping on her boyfriend Rue at the time, and my bad, y'all. Him and Bryson, which is Alaska's boyfriend, they're talking about a stick they just did. And of course, Cuba's, you know, trying to eavesdrop because she know he's in the streets, so she has to watch her back. Whole time she's feeling like something's going down, and stuff did in fact go down. Okay, they end up getting to a wreck, it ended up being a shooting. It just was a setup event, and the only one to make it out without injury was Cuba. And because of that, she coincidentally got, not even coincidentally, because she was the only one to survive without injury, she was the only one who did not have a gunshot wound because it was a shootout. She was the only one who did not die. She left this scene untouched. She got charged with everything. because she wanted to be a ride or die for Rue. And now this term ride or die, it has to go out the window, ladies. Like it has to go out the window, because every single female in this book, they wanted to prove that they was a ride or die for their boyfriend. Kimberly then served 3 years in jail because she got caught with the rugs that was in the car that the two boyfriends stole from somebody who is going to be later discussed in this book. She got caught with the rugs. They wanted to pin her for the unaliving and the attempted unaliving, but those charges didn't stick. So she got charged with the rugs and got sentenced 3 years. So 3 years of her life is gone. Her sister died from the accident. She had a baby. Her parents blame her for her sister's death because she feels like her sister should have just not been there. The parents feel like the sisters have not been there if it wasn't for her. She got blamed for sister's death. She serves 3 years in jail that she can never get back for something she did not do, because boyfriend Rue told police she did it. It was her stuff. She set me up, yada yada yada. She wanted to be a ride or die. She rode and died. Okay, she rode and died. She didn't die. She ends up meeting this guy whose brothers run a rug operation, and it's 5 of them. 2 of them are in jail. 1 of them is a hothead on his way to jail, and it's just 3 of them trying to keep it all afloat. And all 3 of these guys too need a therapist. All the females that's dating the brothers, the Prince brothers, need a therapist, because what are we doing? What are we doing? So then she finds out the only good thing that happened in this book was Cuba finding out what really took place that night when her sister was unalive, her boyfriend was shot. She ended up serving 3 years for a drug charge that she had no business with. She ends up finding out everything that happened. It had everything to do with, I think the name is Keon. It's spelled weird. I'm going to pronounce it Keon. So Keon is one of the brothers who runs the rug operation, if you know what I mean. And Keon is also a gangster. Okay, so she goes in, she falls into love. She tries her hardest to put up a guard against Keon, but Keon just broke the barrier and she ends up falling in love with Keon. Then finds out that Keon's brother is the reason her sister is no longer alive. And it's just like the only good thing, even though it was traumatizing and that probably would hurt her, because that would hurt me. The only good thing that happened in this book was her finding out what really happened that night. And come to find out, her sister was responsible for it all. And that just blew me, because yeah, the book was crazy. Next we got Payback is a Mother. Okay, this book was crazy too. In this book we have, it's been a minute since I read this book, but we have Brianna and Shan. I forgot which one was which, but one of the Brianna was the girl who was the type to use what she got to get what she want, and Shan was the complete opposite of working to get what she want, if you know what I mean. So they was 2 polar opposites. Brianna ends up sleeping around with so many guys. She sleeps around with so many guys, one of them being Shan's brother. Then she sets up Shan's brother. I don't know why you set up your best friend brother, but she set up her best friend's brother to be robbed of everything he had. And I believe Shan's, because it's been a minute since I read this book, so I believe Shan's brother too was running a drug operation. Okay, Shan becomes a correctional officer. She's doing a good deed, being a good person, falls in love with a doggone inmate, have intimacy with the doggone inmate, but I believe she got pregnant by the doggone inmate. Just a whole bunch of craziness. Okay, so Brianna, being conniving that she is, sleeping around with so many people, comes to find out word on the street, the inmate's baby mama now puts a target on Brianna's head because she wants him to come home, and he's been sleeping with her. So he's been having her, Brianna, sneak in rugs into the prison, contraband into the prison, and her dumb self decides to do it. She did it one time and was going to go for another setup, and I forgot how she finds out, but the inmate's wife, baby mama, whomever, finds out that she is sleeping with this guy in prison, and she is going to tell people, hey, your worker is planning to run a rug operation. They was going to have that in play for the inmate to get released. Brianna, I forgot who she was sleeping with when she heard all about it. This is after the fact that she slept with her brother, then set her brother up, okay? So when they find out, when Shan finds out Brianna set up her brother, they end a best friend relationship, and it's just karma be eating people up. So Brianna finds out that the woman knows about Shan, and she's going to set Shan up. So she then goes to warn Shan, hey, don't make that drop. They're going to set you up. So Shan did not make that drop, which means the operation did not go into effect, which means the inmate can no longer get out of prison because the operation did not go into effect. So yeah, so this book was about drama and karma too. So I'll rate this book, what did I rate this book? An 8 out of 10. And I really feel like I only rated it an 8 out of 10 because it ended a little bit on a cliffhanger, and I loathed cliffhangers. Like, I do not like a cliffhanger, okay? Now some of these books I'm gonna introduce left off on a cliffhanger. They supposed to be series. These first 2 books, they supposed to be series as well. This left off of a cliffhanger, and I think that was the only reason why I rated an 8 out of 10. But other than that, it was a real good page turner. Within every sentence that I read after this book, I was screaming, WTF? Because what is going on? What is going on? What is happening? So it was a good read, but it left off on a cliffhanger. And my mom told me this is a series. I cannot find the rest of the series. This book right here too, Addicted to a Dirty South Thug. She says at the end of this book, it's a series. I guess the series was not released yet. And that's what I really hate about cliffhangers, because you have to wait years. And I know how long a book works because I've been working on one. So you have to wait years for a book to be publicized in order to finish or find out what happens next, you know. And that's what I don't like. I like knowing what's happening when it happens, you know. But that's neither here or there. Next, we have this whole bunch of craziness right here. We have Rain and Jaheim. Personally, this was a good book, but also personally, this book traumatized the heck out of me because it took every turn it could possibly take. Okay, it took every turn it could possibly take. So Rain is this girl. She's swearing up and down she's not gonna get into a relationship. I believe she got hurt by a relationship, so she's swearing up and down that she's not gonna go into another relationship. She ends up getting into a relationship with Jaheim. Jaheim has some trauma and some stuff going on with another woman. The other woman don't want to accept the fact that Jaheim no longer wants him. Okay, and not only does this book go as crazy as it went, every single chapter you thinking you're getting the plot twist in the first chapter. Oh no, it's gonna hit you with another one in chapter 2, then the third one in chapter 3. This book, turn after turn, it was another plot twist after another plot twist after another plot twist. So the girl, she is not gonna let Jaheim go. She's refusing to let Jaheim go. She is making Rain's life a living HE hockey sticks because she does not want to let this man go. And at this point, it's just like, Rain, please just leave at this point, because she not gonna leave this man alone, regardless of if this man's saying, hey, I don't want her. This third person character is not leaving this man alone. She is not letting up off this man. Okay, she ends up kidnapping his daughter? It's been so long since I read this book too. But she ends up kidnapping a baby. And not only did she kidnap the baby, she kidnapped Jaheim's sister. And it went crazier from there. Then after the fact that she kidnaps this man's sister and a baby. I forgot who the baby belonged to, but a baby and this man's sister. She kidnaps them. Then, yes, unfortunately, unallows them. Like, this lady is causing Jaheim pure HEW hockey sticks. And Rain is just going along with it. And it's just like, Rain, babe, you have to leave. Like, this girl is, you have to go. But Rain did not want to go. She wanted to stick beside this man because this man said, I want you. So Rain is like, I'm gonna stick beside you. And when I say this page, every single page was a plot twist. It was a plot twist after plot twist after plot twist. This book was just pure plot twist. Like, the ending of the book, you did get the closure of the ending. You did. But it was just so much that went on in this book. I felt like I was watching a Lifetime movie because it was just so much craziness happening afloat with this book. Overall, I rate this book, I think I rate this book a 9 out of 10. And I only rated it a 9 out of 10 because this book, I had to take a pause from reading after reading this book because this book, it was a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot. So yeah. Next we have, hold on y'all. This series right here. This series right here. Don't mind my missing book 1. I know exactly where my book 1 is. I can't get it back, unfortunately. I'm gonna have to go get another one. But this is the Butterfly series by Antionette. And y'all, okay, we're gonna get started with book 1 because, like I said, don't mind the fact I don't actually have book 1. I did read it though. So in book 1, we have Morgan, and then her little love triangle. So Morgan fell in love with this guy named Messiah. Messiah ends up passing away, and from that, Morgan was not the same anymore. Let's add some details. Messiah and every other guy except for Sebastian, they're from the hood. Okay, let's just go and get that in there so we can know. So Messiah ends up passing. Morgan has Messiah's kids. They're twins. Messiah knows nothing about those twins. Morgan meets another guy named Sebastian, and his family along. Yeah, his family alone. So because they took Morgan out of the hood and put her in London, had her finish school, all this, the whole 9 yards of nice things, they was very controlling too. Okay, not only was Sebastian controlling, but Sebastian's mama was invading him and controlling as well. So Morgan was in this relationship, and to her it was like pure HEW hockey sticks because she wasn't truly happy. She was just settling for Sebastian because she lost Messiah. You see where we're going? So then she gets reunited with Messiah's best friend, Amik. I love Amik. I ain't never met Amik, but I love Amik. Okay, I love Amik, and I love Amik for Morgan. So she falls in love. Did she fall in love? No, yes. She's getting reunited with Amik. Mind you, she's in a relationship that she's settling with Sebastian, and they're soon to be married. Him and Morgan are soon to be married. And then Amik comes along, and she reminds her of every single thing of Messiah. Mind you, let's keep in mind that they are best friends. They grew up in the sand pits together, is what they said in the book. She falls in love with Amik. She feels guilty because she falls in love with her dad's first love, best friend. Mind you, Messiah is presumed to be dead. This is what Morgan is thinking. Messiah is dead. Messiah is dead and gone, and Morgan is raising his kids by herself, except for with the help of Sebastian. And Sebastian is honestly being a great guy at the first book. Okay, in the first book, he is honestly being a great guy. Girl. Then we get in book 2. Book 2, we find out Messiah is Lazarus and he done rose from the freaking dead. And he comes back into the picture. So now this love triangle then went from a triangle to a rectangle. Because now we have Morgan, who's still engaged and about to marry Sebastian, to have an affair with Amit, Messiah's best friend, one of them, to realizing that her first love is actually still alive. And she still has those feelings for him. So now she's in this rectangle. She don't know who to choose. But it's not Sebastian. Sebastian not even an option of who she's going to choose. It's definitely not him. She don't even give a F about Sebastian at this point. She left. She was at a wedding fitting. And I can't remember if it was in this book or if it was in this book, book 3. One of these 2 books. Morgan was at a wedding fitting for her wedding to marry Sebastian, left that wedding fitting in the dress and went to go be with Amik. Sebastian not even a part of the equation. He's just getting stringed along. And honestly, book 3. Like I said, I can't remember which one of these books that Morgan ran off with the wedding dress on. But Morgan ran off with the wedding dress in one of these books and she went to be with Amik. She then, when she finds out that Messiah is alive, Messiah wants closure. She, of course, wants closure too, because all these years I'm thinking you're dead and you're alive. You have some audacity. Then Messiah is talking about some, babe, I want to come home. I want to come home. Let me come home. Sir, you've been gone. And you want to come home? Like, I didn't move on with my life. And you want to... No. But she still has feelings for him. So it's this raging war of who she's going to pick. Is she going to pick Messiah or she's going to pick Amik? Yes, she's still engaged to Sebastian, but she honestly don't give a about Sebastian, okay? She don't want Sebastian. And then the kicker is, I think it was the span of 2 years of her being with Bash. She never gave it up to Bash. She told Bash that she'd been hurt a lot, which is true. She was hurt a lot by a lot of people, men in her life, and she wants to wait. So Bash never got the box. He's been told she wants to wait. Amit comes along and automatically gets the box, and it's just like, girl. And it's like, I kind of felt bad at first. I felt bad for Sebastian because he's getting stringed along. Like, for one, this girl should have at least told you, hey, look, I don't want to be in love with you. I don't love you. I'm just settling. But also, too, it's like Sebastian had a lot of things that dealt with Morgan's growth. School, he paid for. Her surgery, Morgan was deaf, okay? Morgan was deaf. He paid for her surgery. She can hear now. Sebastian did so much stuff. And I know it was like, girl, why would you? But he was also controlling. I wouldn't want to be in a class where I'm controlled. Yeah. So, but then it's like, you telling this man that you've been engaged to for 2 whole years that you want to wait, that you're not giving it up because you've been hurt a lot and you want it to be your choice to when you give it up again. Just to automatically give it up to Amik. So he did spaz out. He did spaz out. And I can understand that, but it's just like at the same time, like, you was already being controlling. So he makes it clear to her, look, choose me, because at this point he's getting a hot head. He's one of those boys that, oh, if I know something about you, I'm going to use it against you. So we have Ethic, which is Morgan's stepfather. Now Ethic, okay, this book, I was told before I started this series of Butterfly that you had to read Ethic in order to know what was going on. I did not read Ethic. I just was able to piece clues together and figure out who Ethic is. Ethic is her stepdad, okay, or her father figure. Ethic also was a gang lord. He also used to run the streets, but Ethic retired from the streets and became a family man. But everybody knew not to play with Ethic or his family, okay? And Morgan was his family. So Ethic, and I believe, because it's not said in this series, but it's giving context clues. So Ethic's wife had a daughter who passed away, and Ethic had something to do with it. I did not read Ethics series, so I don't know what he had to do with it. But he had something to do with his current wife, daughter's death. And Bash knew about that. Now, Morgan was wrong because Morgan was not supposed to tell Bash anything about the family. That was their rule. They was not supposed to tell any outsiders about what's going on in the family. So Bash is holding this over her head that he knows what happened to this girl's his wife's daughter, and he's gonna use it against her if she doesn't be with him. This is at the point where I stopped caring for Bash because, girl, boy, just move on. You got all this money, just move. So Morgan is obviously in love with Amik, wants to be with Amik, tells Amik she wants to be with him. She ain't worried about Messiah either. She not. She don't even care about Messiah. She knows the fact she loved the Messiah at a point in time, but she doesn't love him no more, because how can you just up and disappear for 2 years, having me grieving, thinking you're dead and you're alive? She tells me she wants to be with him. Sebastian is using it over her head. Hey, if you don't be with me, if you don't marry me, I'm going to have your stepfather arrested. And then it's going to cut ties with her and her stepfather, because she is not supposed to be telling anything. She not being quiet on the creek, okay? So then we have book 4. Oh my gosh. I was so glad when they got freaking Bash up out of there. They got him. I was so glad when they got Bash, because Bash and his mama, oh my gosh, Bash and his mama. And one thing I can't stand, I cannot stand when a mom is enabling her child's crazy behavior. Like, I cannot understand that. But Bash and his freaking mama, I was so glad when they got Bash, because not only did Bash tell this girl, hey, you have no other choice but to be with me, because if you don't be with me, everything I know about you is finna get aired out. So Bash then basically kidnaps her, hold her hostage. She cannot leave what's their last name? Oh, the Fredericks, whatever their last name is. She cannot leave their house. If she leaves their house, all this stuff gonna happen. The mom then went as far as saying, I will tell the courts that you're an unfit mother. Like, she was using her post-traumatic stress, not post-traumatic stress, though. What's it called with labor? It's the labor one. My bad, y'all. My brain default. When she had the labor and she was depressed and she tried to unalive herself, and she really tried to unalive herself because her first love was gone, the mom, Sebastian's mom, was going to use that against her. It was like, if you leave my son, I'm going to go to the courts and have him take your kids, because he adopted her kids. They wasn't her kids. He adopted her kids. So legally, if she is proven insanity, he gets her kids. So at this point, she is sitting here struggling in silence. She's not telling Amik, who clearly told her, look, I will unalive this man right now for you. Not telling Messiah, because Messiah is the kid's father. She's not telling Messiah because, I forgot for whatever reason, she's not telling Messiah. She don't want no dealings with him. And she's not telling Ethic, her stepdad, because she don't want to expose herself that she done ran her mouth and told this man every single thing that can get this man in jail. So she is struggling. In this series, she's struggling, silent. This man is, at this point, forcing himself on her, because he's like, you wouldn't give me none, but you're giving him something. Oh no, it's that type of thing going on. So now it's just like, she's suffering in silence, because she cut off all ties to be with this man who's keeping her hostage at this point. They find out though. She was able to get away. They find out and they got that man. Okay, they got that man. And I think it was this book where Messiah finds out that those kids are his. I think it was this book. If not, it was book 3. One of these books, he finds out he's the father. And now at this point, he's really wanting to reunite with his family. But mind you, let's add this into play. Messiah is sleeping in another woman's house in her bed while actively trying to come home to Morgan. And it's just like, at this point, Messiah, you should have just stayed gone. Then we got book 5. Okay. We get book 5. And it is evidently clear. Morgan had chose, after this whole Sebastian era, Morgan chose Amik. She chose Amik. This girl even put her baby down. They was at, I think, a baby shower. They was somewhere in one of these books. They was at a baby shower or something. She put her baby down, ran after Amik, telling Amik, I choose you. But Amik was like, I got some business to take care of. Amik. So she ended up in the arms. She didn't sleep with him, but she ended up in the arms of Messiah. Messiah is still begging and pleading to come back home, whole 9 yards. She made it clear, look, I loved you at a point in time, but I don't love you anymore. And now it's just conflict between Messiah and Amik. They're now at odds. They're now bumping heads, and they used to be sandpit buddies. And then not only did Amik get to bash, Amik got his mama too. And this book, of course, left off on a cliffhanger because after we find out Amik got the mama, it is broadcasted on the news that the last name is Douglas. The Douglas family is missing, and the last person who was associated with the Douglas family is freaking Morgan. And now we have to wait till September, because that's when book 6 come out, to find out what's going to happen, because this book was so much drama filled. I rate this series, I rated a 9.5 out of a 10, and I really say that because this book was a lot. And not only did each book end on a cliffhanger, so when I first started reading Butterfly, when I read the first book, these 2 books was already out. So it was like, okay, I got caught up. So when I got caught up with that, this book was then released. So for me, it wasn't a long time to wait on a release date, because right after I got caught up with these 2 books, this book was immediate release, and I got it. And then it was this book, and I had pre-ordered this book, got it. And now it's just like, I had pre-ordered book 6 too. And this book, honestly, she announced that this book was supposed to be the last book. But then this book was also not the last book. It was, I didn't like that this book that was supposed to be the last book was main so about Ethic and his wife. And it just like, when I watched other people reviews, they was just like, that should have been in the Ethic series. She should have did it, the Ethic thing. This should have been strictly about Morgan. And I agree, but I didn't read Ethics, so I can't really say that. But book 6 coming out in September. So for right now, I rate this series a 9.5 out of 10. Now, Ashley does the phenomenal job of letting you know, hey, this book is going to be a roller coaster. Okay, so if you read this book, just know you're going to be on a roller coaster. And she already forewarns you to go ahead and get your wine, because you're going to need some wine drinking this book. Take it from my advice, you're going to need more than wine drinking that book, okay? You're going to need something a lot of stronger than some wine reading these series, okay? Next, we're going to go with the books that I have read that was on my Kindle, okay? Going to first start off with, no, it's only one. Well, it's 2. So, Rhythms Blues. Now, Rhythms Blues, I loved Rhythm's Payback, but it was just like Rhythm was also being a duck. Like, come on now. So in Rhythm's Blues, we have Rhythm, who is reunited with this guy that she liked in high school. Come to find out, they both had a crush on each other, and they decided to act upon it. Now, this guy from high school had a peak, and he becomes a known rapper, something like that, of that nature. And this man is publicly disrespecting and embarrassing Rhythm. Okay, Rhythm announced that she wants to be acknowledged, but she also don't want this spotlight on her. So her boyfriend, he's a good rapper. He got this PR rep or whoever she is. She also does music. Fans see at every single concert he's at, fans see her and him arm in arm, like they the couple. And he goes on with this persona that they the couple, and he tells Rhythm, I'm only doing this for PR. This is good for publicity for them to think we're together because we work together. We make music together. And I'm just trying to figure out, is Rhythm slow or is she slow? Because why are you still entertaining this at this point? So then not only do you have, you don't even give me the courtesy to say, hey, I'm dating somebody. But you tell the whole wide world, let the whole wide world think that you're dating your PR rep. But you got her in the corner and she's the one doing everything for you. But you got her flashing as she is if your girl, your arm candy. Then, so she announces to him that, hey, you don't make me feel like you love me because you're not even telling the world that you got me. So then, okay, she announced that he's in a relationship with her. But also, still have her on his arm in every single picture. Still got the fans saying, hey, y'all look like a couple. Y'all doing this, doing that. And he's telling her, oh, it's for PR rep. It's for PR rep. That scares me. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just cuckoo for Cocoa Plus One. Because I know. Because what do you mean? Let the fans know, hey, this is not my woman. But then keep saying to her, oh, she's not my woman. There's no feelings attached. But you are letting her kiss on you, all that stuff in the public. And fans are recording you, putting it on. You know how celebrities are, putting it on these blogs and everything. And you're not once even saying, hey, I have her. But you got this girl looking stupid. So they end up ending things. And Rhythm then decides to go with a manager he was trying to get with. And it was just so crazy to me because, girl, out of all people, you went with his manager? You went with his manager. So they becomes a thing. Then Rhythm sleeps with the manager. And it's just like, at this point, she loves that manager, okay? And what made me mad about this whole thing was that although Rhythm was getting publicly embarrassed, let's add, publicly embarrassed, this man was having this woman at your house at the wee hours of the night, going into the studio room by themselves, talking about some they making music. They making something all right, and it ain't the music. So while she's with this guy, she finds out this girl is pregnant. Now, what happened to all that? Oh, we just PR rep, So, and then it becomes a thing where he wants her back. He becomes cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, trying to mess up her car, track her down, follow her, the whole 9 yards because he wants her back. That's his woman. He wants his woman back, but you got this girl parading around like she's your girlfriend. Cool, but it was craziness, but it did not leave on a cliffhanger. She clearly left with the manager. She ends up marrying the manager, and I love that for her. I did not love the fact that she didn't really stand on business. Like, he's out here being hilarious. This is what she basically said. He's out here being hilarious. Funny. She's gonna go be hilarious. But so when she gonna be hilarious, she's feeling guilty about it. Like, girl, no, that's not how that works. You're not supposed to feel guilty because he's out there. No, that's not how that works. So honestly, Rhythm's Blues, I rate a 9.5 out of 10 because it was just like, girl, come on now, be for real. If you're gonna be hilarious, stand on there. Like, stand up. Next we have Ladies Night by Christian Keys. Growing up, I had a huge crush on Christian Keys. Like, I had the most phenomenal crush on Christian Keys. Like, in my mind, Christian Keys was my man. Okay, so when I read this book, I was like, But it was a good book. I rate that book a 10 out of 10, honestly. And I really rate that because it was just a good book. So if you watch All Queen's Men, then you know what that book is about. So Christian Keys was in jail, gets out of jail, he's on parole, all that good jazz, and he's trying to keep some money afloat, and he ends up working at a club, becoming a stripper. Honestly, and when I was reading, where is that book? When I was reading Rain and Jaheim, I was also reading that book at the same time, and I had finished Rain and Jaheim before I finished Christian Keys' Ladies Night. And I was like, oh my gosh, Christian gonna get... I was thinking of worse, but it was a good book. And I can't really say much about it because, like I said, if you watch All Queens Men, you basically read the book. So, but I rated it a 10 out of 10. So now we're gonna go into the books that I want to read. I have not read yet, and we have 2 books that I'm currently reading that I cannot finish. So we're gonna go with. I can finish this book. I just haven't had time. But we have Drama High series by Elle Devine. Now, I read all of these books when I was in high school, of course, and I loved it. And I wanted them, like, because these is, I ain't gonna say these introduced me to books, but this introduced my love for books. Because, like, periodically growing up, I read books, and I was like, okay, this is a good book. But these books made me want to keep reading, because this honestly was the first book where it's people like me, if you know what I mean, on a skin cover. It's a black author. This was the first book I have been introduced to. So I read it, but honestly, I don't remember what happened in those books. I just know I read them in high school, and for my graduation gift, somebody gifted me the whole complete set. Well, almost, because I found out that it's a 20. Because so right now I have all of the 19 of this series. I have all 19 of it, and I just recently found out there's a book 20, so I have to get that book. So I restarted reading these books just to feel that nostalgia, and I love it. I love the fact that we have, because like I said, when I read this, I was in high school. It has been, I don't know how many years since I've graduated high school, but it's been some years, and so I don't remember exactly everything of those books. And most of those books I've read, I also read when I was in junior high, but they took them out of junior high because there was more of a high school level. But anyway, me now being 26 and going back and reading this book, it is just like, girl, I love Jade. Like, Jade got this guy on her arm. And you know how most guys are. They feel like if you love me, you have to give it up. And Jade was not giving it up. So this guy who she was dating, she was like, well, he was like, if you ain't giving it up, I'm gonna go give it to from somebody else. And Jade was like, cool, do you? And it's like, me being 26 now, it's related so much to that, because I can say I did have my guy friends, but now it's just like, I'm 26, I'm single, and now every guy I meet, it's just like they want me to give it up, and I'm like, no. I feel like I can relate to Jade. It's like, I just relate to her, and I love that for her, that she's not giving it up. So I restarted this series. I'm only in chapter, I think I'm in 9, but like I said, I do have this whole complete series, and I do plan on reading it. So my next book talk, we will definitely have this in there. Next we have Sister Soldier, Love After Midnight. Now this book is thick. Okay, and I'm really trying to force myself to finish this book, because I am in I am in 28 out of 35, and I just can't finish the book. Like, I just can't finish it. To me, the book is becoming redundant, and it's just like, okay, I'm getting bored with it. So it's like pulling teeth and nails to try to finish this book. So honestly, I think this book is probably going to be a 2 out of 10. Like, I'm trying with it. I really am, but I can't get to it. So I'm going to finish this book, and when I do, it will of course be in the next TBR or the next book talk. But right now, I'm feeling like this book is going to be a 2 out of 10, possibly a 1 out of 10, because I got bored and stopped reading it. And I actually stopped reading this book some months ago. And like I said, I started with this book, and because I read it in middle school and high school, I automatically give this book a 10 out of 10, because I went on a search for this entire series, and I loved it. But this book right here, Love After Midnight, I can't finish it. So I'm gonna try to finish it and give it an honest rating, but it became redundant, and I can't finish it. So right now it's at a 2. I also started reading a book that I've always wanted. Well, I ain't gonna say always, but when it came out, I wanted it. So, and that is, do I have the third one right here? That is Before I Let Go. And I could never obtain Before I Let Go. And now I finally have it, and I'm reading it on my Kindle, and it's not keeping my interest. And that's very disappointing to me because I really wanted to like that book, but I can't get into it. I'm in chapter 2 of that book, and it's just like, it's not catching my interest. But I'm going to probably stick it through because I have book 3, and I cannot read book 3 without reading book 1 and 2. I have both book 1 and 2 on my Kindle, and I only have the paperback of book 3. I just can't get into it. Like, when I read the preview of it, where did I read the preview? I don't know. I read the preview of Before I Let Go, and I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna like it. And then I actually got it in my Kindle, and it's just like, I cannot get into it. So hopefully I do get into it so I can read it and I can finish it and then start Can't Let Go or Can't Get Enough and finish the Skyline series. But right now I can't get into it. And then, so what's next in my TBR will be, sorry, I'm checking my email, 7 Days in June. Y'all, when I first did the book talk, 7 Days in June was in my TBR. And for some reason in my mind, I just feel like, just because of the title, I feel like I have to read this book in June. Like, that's how my brain is working. Like, I have to read this book in June in order for me to read it. But every time June comes around, I be reading, I don't think about this book. So, I don't know. I don't know how this book is. People say it's good, but hopefully it's not like Before I Let Go where I could not get into it. But I'm gonna make that a goal for myself to just read the book. Next in my TBR, we have Black Candle Women. And I feel like I'm gonna really like this book because I was somewhere and I read the sample of it. I read the first 2 chapters and I enjoyed the first 2 chapters. So I ended up purchasing it and have not read it yet. But I believe I'm gonna like this book. Next we have in my TBR is What's Done in Darkness. And all these books, of course, will be in my next book talk. So we got What's Done in Darkness. I honestly don't know what this book will be about. Somebody gifted me this book and said they think I would like it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to give it a win. But from what I read about it in the description, it seems like it's going to be like a Lifetime movie. And I was like, okay, I think I'm going to like that. But I haven't started reading it yet because my mind be elsewhere. Then we have Plain Dirty. Someone told me that Kiki Swanson was a good girl, where you see an A? Swinson. Someone told me that Kiki Swinson is gonna be a good author, and I would like her. So I got this book when I saw it, and when I got this book, I also got this book, and I actually read the first chapter of this book and in the sample, and I liked it. But this is the thing, y'all. We got another bird girl. Like I said in this book, where every female needs a therapist, she possibly needs a therapist too. Because the first chapter I read, she's in love with this guy who's, I can't remember if he was married or not, but she's in love with this guy who, I'm gonna just say married. He got another woman, and I believe he had kids with this other woman, and she is in love with him. And girl, if you don't stand up, this man is basically controlling her. Like, he is out in the streets running around, and she is being loyal to him. And the chapter I got into, another man came along and she was starting to feel for him, and this man told this girl, but she was out with her sister, oh, I tried to spend time with you, but you want to go out with your sister and not spend time with me, not be at home for me. Mind you, you have a whole woman in another house, and you want her to stay in the house all day and wait around on you. And I really think I'm gonna like this book. I just gotta finish it because, girl, stand up. Like, I don't know I think I have an obsession with reading about women who won't stand up, because Morgan, for one, she needs to learn how to stand up. Well, she actually did. She stood up, she showed a mix. So I'm really hoping in book 6, when it comes out in September, she just ends up with Amit. But this girl right here, I don't even remember her name. Like I said, I read the first chapter of it, and I was just like, girl, stand up, sister. Stand up. Like just stand. Just rise, you know? But I feel like I would like this book. I just gotta get into it. You know, I just gotta lock in and read it. But that's all I have for you guys. Stay tuned for my next video. Please comment a book recommendation that you think I might like, and I just might pick that up and add that into my next book talk. With that being said, y'all be breezy, take it easy, stay amazing. Ciao.